Huge news regarding another forward who could be coming to the Premier League. David Ornstein of The Athletic is reporting that Arsenal are exploring a move for Vinícius Jr. How do you like the sound of that?
I love the sound of that.
Thought you might.
That sounds good. They're the kind of moves that I need to be seeing.
That's what you wanted to hear.
That's a big move, yeah, because that's a statement move. That's a statement signing. You know, fans will get excited about that. Players will get excited about that. And he's a fantastic player. He's a young player. He's electric. We've seen what he can do with Real Madrid, playing in the Champions League. He's got that kind of experience as well. He's a winner. So I think that would be a great signing. To be honest, though, even him, you know, being one of the best wingers in the world, he's going to have to get used to the Premier League because it's a lot more physical than La Liga. But there's no doubt about it. He's one of the world's best.
And how would he fit in? Because he's expecting to start every game. Someone would have to make way for Vini Jr.
He would. Everyone's making way for him. Yeah. If he comes to the Arsenal, you know, Martinelli's there, Trossard's there, right? And then Eze sometimes he plays that. Yeah, Trossard's off already. Martinelli's there. Eze's there, but Eze is more of a number 10 for me. He can play in that wide area, but Vini Jr comes. I mean, he's going in everyone's team straight away. There's no question about that. And
how would that help Gyökeres as well?
It would help. It would help Gyökeres massively as well because he's going to be getting to the line. He's going to be putting balls in the box. But the most important thing, and I said this from the beginning, Arsenal have been lopsided for years. You know, obviously Arsenal relies so much on the right-hand side with Saka out there. Obviously Odegaard and Saka was a link-up duo. Odegaard's not been playing as much recently. But if Arsenal were to make that signing and then have that kind of balance on both sides, it would really have defenders guessing because you can't now automatically just go and double up on one side every time Arsenal are going to attack. You have to think about what's happening on the other side. So that would be an amazing signing. That's the kind of statement signing I think all Arsenal fans want to see. Because Arsenal fans, you know, I still live in North London, you know, everyone is frustrated with the business that Arsenal have done so far. So something like that would get everyone really excited. Everyone will be down to the Emirates buying Vini shirts, I'm sure.
Could that potentially explain why they've been quiet? Because they've been working on that move behind the scenes.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Well, if you look at Solis, he's gone in there, and I'm not saying that he's... You know, he must be a really good young player for Mikel to look at him and say, we want to bring him in, make him the first signing. And then Vini Jr, obviously, he could be the main signing. And even if that was it, Solis and Vini Jr, I would look at that and say, that's a very good window. But I do feel like they need to bring a defender in, especially because Saliba is injured. We don't know how long Saliba is going to be out for. It was reported that he doesn't need back surgery anymore, but he's going to miss a few months for sure. That's why I say John Stones would be amazing because you ain't got to pay nothing for him. And then, can you imagine Vini Jr and Alvarez? Them two signings there, that would be fire. But if Vini Jr, if this could happen, I mean... The fact that the Athletic's reporting it means it's, you know, it's real. It's a real source.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Arsenal fans are going to get excited. I'm excited.
They should. It's early stages. However, David Ornstein is usually a very reputable source, isn't he, when it comes to transfers? I have to say to our viewers, I'm sorry about these coughing fits. It seems to be whenever you come on set. I don't know what aftershave you've got.
It's not my aftershave either.
Yeah,
I ain't wearing none.
Wearing, but I'm allergic to it. All right, Jay, we're going to need to change it up for next time. So could the fact Vinícius Jr might be leaving for Arsenal be the reason Real Madrid are desperately trying to sign Diomande? And what do you think? Have you seen much of the Leipzig player?
I like Diomande. I think he's a very good young player. Again, the money that Leipzig are looking for, I'm not sure, like the £100 million, I don't think they're going to get that for him. For £100 million plus, I want to be signing the best winger in the world. To me, Diomande is not one of the best wingers in the world right now. There's no doubt about it. He could be if he keeps progressing. He's got a ceiling. He's young. He can keep improving. But I think Real Madrid are looking at more like the Elise. I think if they lose someone like Vini Jr, who's arguably one of the best, they're going to have to go and sign someone that's arguably one of the best. And that would be the likes of Elise. So I can see Liverpool getting this one.
Yeah,
I can, because Salah's left. He can play on the right, Diamandi. That goal we see earlier, that's him playing off the right. But he plays on the left. We see that in the World Cup, where he was playing off the left too. So there's lots of options there. And I feel like that's the one that Liverpool will probably go all out for, because you have to replace Salah's goal somewhere. Obviously, Isak's going to be fit as well, so hopefully he can hit the ground running this season with a good pre-season. But I feel like Diamande will be going, well, if it's not PSG. But then even then with PSG, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, where are you playing? Are you better than Doué?
Yeah.
Are you better than Dembele? You know, are you better than these players? You know, they just signed a striker as well. So it's like, I don't know where.
Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah, Kvaratskhelia. Like, I don't know where he would be going in to start there, and then that could stifle his progression. So if I'm him and his management, I would look at the pathway.
Yeah.
Right? And then I would say to myself, OK, I'm a young player. I can go to Liverpool, play week in, week out. And I'm not saying Liverpool is a stepping stone, because they're one of the biggest clubs in the world. But if you do really well at Liverpool, you know, Real Madrid are coming again. Barcelona are coming again. All the big nations are coming. Bayern Munich, they're all coming. So if it was me, I'd be telling my player to go somewhere where you can play week in, week out. And, you know, you're going to be in the best league in the world.
You say 100 million, you want the best winger in world football, but I mean, look what City have just done with Elliot Anderson. Chelsea have done with Morgan Rogers, one of the best midfielders in the world.
Elliot Anderson's definitely one of the best midfielders in the world. For me.
I feel like 100 million plus is now the going rate for a top quality player.
I mean, I've been talking about this with my friends for a long time now. It was Chelsea. Chelsea disturbed the market a few years ago when they spent 105 on Enzo Fernandez, and they spent, was it 112 or something like that on Caicedo?
Yeah.
Of course, when the market has been disrupted like that, every other club is saying, OK, well, we think our midfielder is worth more than that. We think he's better than that. So we're not taking anything less. You know, Declan Rice was 100 million. If you was to buy Declan Rice now, you're paying like 120 for him. You know, at that moment, 100 million was the going rate.
And the rest, I reckon.
At that moment, that was the going rate. But again, like, if you want to buy one of the world's best attacking players, right, and we're talking about Elise's, then it's the 120 million pounds. But if we're talking about Diamande, and he's like, what is he, 19 years old? Yeah. Like, he's just starting out. You know, I'm not paying top dollar for Diamande. That's not proven. He's in the German league. Yes, it is a good league, but to be paying that kind of money so soon, I can't justify that. But there are clubs that are going to be desperate for that kind of player in that position. That's why I say Liverpool. Liverpool have put the same bid in for Real Madrid. Maybe there can be some more add-ons. Maybe there could be more up front. But at the end of the day, I still feel like it's a lot of money, even for Liverpool, for Premier League clubs. I think it's a lot for someone so young and that's fairly inexperienced.
Yeah. But dig around those academies. There's probably someone similar in there.
He didn't have a great World Cup either.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Coast, wasn't it?
Arsenal's shock Galactico move. Why Vinícius Jr could be heading to the Emirates. Arsenal could be preparing for one of the biggest transfer moves in their history, with Vinícius Jr reportedly emerging as a potential target amid growing uncertainty surrounding his future at Real Madrid. The Brazilian superstar has established himself as one of the world's most dangerous attackers, but questions over his contract situation and long-term plans in Madrid have sparked speculation about a possible departure. Could Mikel Arteta and Arsenal make a stunning move for Vini Jr? In this video, we explore the latest transfer rumors, why Real Madrid could consider selling their superstar, Arsenal's potential interest, and what a blockbuster move to the Emirates could mean for the Gunners. Arsenal and the Vinícius Jr transfer dream. Arsenal have spent recent seasons building a squad capable of competing at the highest level of English and European football. Under Mikel Arteta, the Gunners have transformed themselves into a team with genuine ambitions of winning major trophies, and ambition has naturally led to links with some of the biggest names in world football. One name that would immediately change the conversation around Arsenal is Vinícius Jr. The Brazilian winger is considered one of the most explosive attacking players in the world. His pace, dribbling ability, creativity and movement have made him a nightmare for defenders, while his performances for Real Madrid have established him as one of the club's most important stars. However, reports surrounding his future at the Spanish Giants have created an intriguing situation. If Real Madrid were ever to seriously consider selling Vinícius Jr, Arsenal would surely be one of the clubs worth watching. The Gunners have the financial power, sporting ambition and Premier League profile to potentially make an approach, although a deal of this magnitude would be extremely complicated. Still, transfer speculation often begins with one simple question: what if? And right now, the possibility of Vinícius Jr wearing an Arsenal shirt is enough to get supporters dreaming. Why could Real Madrid consider selling their superstar? Real Madrid are not a club that regularly sells their biggest stars while those players are still at the peak of their careers. However, football is unpredictable, and several factors can influence a player's future. The first major issue is the player's contract situation. Whenever a superstar enters a complicated period in negotiations, speculation immediately begins about whether the club could eventually decide to cash in rather than risk losing control of the situation. Real Madrid have historically been extremely careful when it comes to contracts, salaries and long-term squad planning. Vinícius Jr.'s importance to the club is obvious, but if negotiations over his future become difficult, the situation could potentially create an opportunity for other European giants. Another factor is Real Madrid's extraordinary collection of attacking talent. The Spanish giants have invested heavily in building an elite forward line, and the arrival and development of other world-class attackers could influence how the club structures its squad in the future. Real Madrid have always operated with a long-term vision, constantly looking at the next generation of superstars. That does not necessarily mean Vinícius Jr is unwanted. Instead, it could simply mean that the club must make difficult decisions about its wage structure, squad balance and future street. Rated G. For Arsenal, any uncertainty surrounding Vinícius Jr would be a reason to monitor the situation closely. What would Vinícius Jr bring to Arsenal? From a football perspective, it is easy to understand why Arsenal would be interested in a player of Vinícius Jr.'s quality. The Brazilian's biggest strength is his ability to destroy defensive structures. When Vinícius receives the ball in a one-on-one situation, defenders are immediately forced into difficult decisions. They can attempt to stay close to him, risking being beaten by his dribbling, or give him space and allow him to accelerate into dangerous areas. That type of direct attacking threat is something every elite team wants. Arsenal already have incredible quality in wide areas, but adding Vinícius Jr would give Arteta another dimension. His ability to play from the left wing could create a devastating attacking partnership with Arsenal's other forwards and midfielders. Imagine Arsenal winning possession in midfield and quickly finding Vinícius in space. His pace could completely change the speed of Arsenal's attacks. For a team that often faces opponents sitting deep, having a player capable of beating multiple defenders and creating opportunities from nothing could be incredibly valuable. Vinícius could also benefit from Arsenal's possession-based approach. Under Arteta, Arsenal have developed into a side that focuses heavily on controlling matches, creating overloads and moving the ball into dangerous areas. A player like Vinícius could thrive in a system where he receives regular opportunities to attack isolated defenders. Could Arsenal actually afford him? This is where the dream becomes significantly more complicated. Vinícius Jr is not an ordinary transfer target. A player of his status would command an enormous transfer fee, while his salary expectations would also be among the highest at any club in Europe. Arsenal would therefore have to make a major financial commitment to complete such a deal. The Gunners have demonstrated a willingness to spend significant money when they believe a player can transform the team. However, a potential Vinícius Jr transfer would likely represent an extraordinary financial investment. The question would not simply be whether Arsenal could pay the transfer fee. It would be whether the club believes signing him is worth restructuring its wage bill and potentially changing its transfer priorities. Arsenal would also face competition from other European giants. If Vinícius Jr became genuinely available, there would likely be no shortage of clubs interested in signing him. That could make negotiations incredibly difficult. Why Arsenal could be an attractive destination? Despite the financial challenges, Arsenal could offer Vinícius Jr something extremely important: a central role in an ambitious project. The Brazilian has already experienced success at Real Madrid, including competing for the biggest trophies in world football. Any move away from Madrid would therefore need to make sporting sense. Arsenal could potentially offer him the chance to become one of the main faces of a new era. The Gunners have been building a young and talented squad, and the arrival of a player like Vinícius could elevate their Ambitions even further. Playing in the Premier League would also provide a new challenge for the Brazilian. The physical intensity of English football is completely different from La Liga, and proving himself in the Premier League could become another major chapter in his career. For Arsenal supporters, the idea is incredibly exciting. A front line featuring Vinícius Jr alongside Arsenal's existing attacking talent would immediately make the club one of the most feared attacking teams in Europe. The Arteta factor. Mikel Arteta could also play an important role if Arsenal ever seriously pursued Vinícius Jr. Arteta has built a reputation for demanding tactical discipline, intensity and commitment from his players. At the same time, he has shown that he wants Arsenal to possess players capable of producing moments of individual brilliance. Vinícius Jr would certainly provide that. The biggest challenge would be finding the perfect tactical balance. Arsenal's system requires attackers to contribute both offensively and defensively. Vinícius would need to adapt to Arteta's demands, but his work rate and athleticism could potentially make that transition possible. The manager would also have to determine how to maximize his attacking strengths without compromising the team's structure. If Arteta could find that balance, Vinícius could become a devastating weapon. A transfer that could change Arsenal's status. If Arsenal somehow managed to sign Vinícius Jr, it would be more than just another transfer. It would be a statement. The Gunners would be telling the football world that they are ready to compete financially and sporting-wise with the biggest clubs on the planet. It could also have a major impact on Arsenal's global profile. Vinícius Jr is one of the most recognizable young football stars in the world. His arrival would generate enormous attention from fans, media and sponsors. But ultimately, Arsenal would need to focus on what happens on the pitch. The goal would be simple: win trophies. The Brazilians' experience at the highest level could potentially help Arsenal take another step forward in their pursuit of domestic and European success. The big question: could Vini Jr really join Arsenal? At this stage, the possibility of Vinícius Jr moving to Arsenal remains a fascinating transfer scenario rather than a guaranteed deal. There are still numerous obstacles to overcome, including his relationship with Real Madrid, contract negotiations, the financial demands of a potential transfer and competition from other elite clubs. However, football has taught fans one important lesson: never say never. If Real Madrid were genuinely prepared to listen to offers for their superstar, Arsenal would have every reason to investigate the possibility. For now, Arsenal supporters can only imagine what such a transfer could mean. Vinícius Jr at the Emirates would represent one of the most ambitious moves in the club's history. His pace, creativity and ability to change games could give Arsenal another world-class attacking option and potentially transform the team's offensive potential. Whether this dream becomes reality remains to be seen. But if the rumors surrounding Vinícius Jr.'s future continue to grow, Arsenal fans will undoubtedly be watching closely. One thing is certain: if Real Madrid ever put Vinícius Jr on the transfer market, the entire football world would be watching, and Arsenal could find themselves right in the middle of the biggest transfer battle of the summer.